Las Vegas. They call it the city of lights, the city that never sleeps, the place where dreams come true. But if you stop for just 1 second, if you dare look past the neon curtain, you see another truth. A truth no one wants you to know. And I'm here to tell you. Picture yourself standing on the Las Vegas Strip at midnight. The lights are so blinding, they turn night into day. Giant billboards glow. Girls in glittering outfits call out. Slot machines sing like demons. But step through the employees-only door, down a narrow hallway that reeks of bleach and sweat, and the illusion shatters. You are no longer in an entertainment paradise. You are standing inside a massive prison. And the prisoners here? They don't wear shackles. They don't wear stripes. They smile. They serve your drinks. They make your bed. But in their eyes, you can see the chains. I call them the silent slaves of Las Vegas. I've spent months speaking with them. A Mexican housekeeper working 12-hour days. A Cuban bartender surviving on tips, never sure if tomorrow's rent can be paid. A black security guard, a former soldier, now forced to face drunken fights and even gunfire. And a young dancer from Asia, turned into a commodity inside a system she cannot escape. These aren't stories you'll find in glossy brochures. These are the crushed lives that keep the Vegas machine spinning, 24 hours a day. And in this video, I'll take you through the places tourists never see. But before we continue, I have to ask you one thing. Do you dare face the truth? Because once you see it, you'll never look at Las Vegas the same way again. If you truly dare, hit subscribe to Vegas Drifter now. Because what I'm about to show you will make your skin crawl. Las Vegas was built on the American dream? No, it was built on cheap labor. Let's start with the housekeepers. Maria, 43, an immigrant from Mexico. She told me her story in a small cafe on the outskirts of Henderson. Every day, I clean between 18 and 22 rooms. Every room must be perfect. The sheets flat without a wrinkle, the bathroom shining like new. If a guest complains, I lose money. If I'm late, I get screamed at. I asked her, "Do you get breaks?" She gave a bitter laugh. 15 minutes. But I usually skip it, because if I sit down, I'll never meet the quota. I have to run. To put it in perspective, a single 5-star hotel room on the Strip can bring in hundreds of dollars a night. Maria makes less than $3 for each one she cleans. The rest? Straight into corporate pockets. Think about it. While you lie back on a spotless white bed in the Bellagio or Caesar's Palace, sipping champagne, a woman like Maria spent hours bending her back to make it look perfect. You feel comfort. She goes home with back pain, lungs stung by chemicals, and hands cracked from labor. Do you still believe Vegas is paradise? Or is it just a machine that consumes people? Another story. Jorge, a kitchen worker in a luxury restaurant. He told me, guests pay $200 for a meal. But I stand next to the flames for 10 hours, dripping sweat onto the floor, just to earn $12 an hour. I can't even afford to eat the food I cook. He pointed at an old clock on the wall. In the kitchen, time stands still. Out there, they're drunk and dancing. In here, we're counting the hours until we can go home. Do you see it? There are two Las Vegas. The one the world sees glittering, dazzling, radiant. And the underground Las Vegas where people are squeezed dry like lemons. So I ask you, which Las Vegas do you belong to? But the cruelty doesn't stop there. Behind the bars, bartenders live on a tightrope. Ana from Cuba told me, "My base pay is $2.13 an hour. Everything depends on tips. Some nights I make $200. Some nights only $20 if I don't smile enough. If I pour too slow, if a customer complains, I lose everything." Can you picture that? A city where someone spends thousands of dollars on a bottle of liquor, while the person serving it can't afford rent. Ana's voice trembled. When customers are drunk, they say anything. They touch me, they call me names, I have to smile. Because if I don't, I lose my tip. This is Las Vegas. A stage where everything is allowed as long as the money flows. And the dancers? I met Lynn, a young Vietnamese woman, 23 years old. She came to Vegas chasing quick money to send back home. But within months, she told me, "I don't feel human anymore. I feel like a product." At first, she was just dancing in clubs. But the pressure grew. Customers wanted more. The manager hinted, if you don't please them, they'll go elsewhere. I didn't want to. But I was afraid to lose my job. Who's in control? Not the government, not the police, but the invisible hands, the corporations, the club owners, the casino bosses. And if you think these are just isolated cases, you're wrong. This is the system. A system that has turned an entire city into a prison. So imagine one working day in Las Vegas. 5 a.m. housekeepers clock in. 10 a.m. the kitchens fire up for the buffets. 4 p.m. bartenders start their night shifts. Dancers put on their makeup. 2 a.m. they finally go home exhausted. And the cycle repeats. Do you know why they call Las Vegas the city that never sleeps? Not because the tourists never sleep, but because the workers here are not allowed to. I'm not telling you these stories to complain. I'm telling them so you see clearly. Las Vegas is not the city of lights. It is a prison lit by neon. And the prisoners? They are the people you never see. Now will you keep smiling at the bright lights of Vegas? Or will you dare face the darkness? If you're still here, leave a comment. Do you think Las Vegas is paradise or hell dressed in neon? I want to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like this video. Because the more people know the truth, the harder it is for us to be blinded by false light. You know what? That merciless wheel, cheap labor, exhausting shifts, that's just the surface. We've only touched the skin of Las Vegas, but the flesh, the bones, the blood running underneath, it's far darker, because who controls it all? Who drains every last drop of those people's strength? It wasn't just the legal casino owners, it was the mafia. Let's rewind to the 1940s and 50s. When Las Vegas first began to boom, the mafia from Chicago, New York, Cleveland poured in. They saw what the rest of America didn't dare imagine. A city where gambling was legal. A paradise for laundering money. Bugsy Siegel, one of the most notorious bosses, laid the foundation with the Flamingo Hotel. He called it the Monaco of the desert. But in truth, the Flamingo was just a money-sucking machine. Every casino that rose after followed the same formula. Mafia money, management by violence, and profits flowing into the pockets of men who never appeared on paper. See those bright lights out there? Remember, they're lit with blood. A former security worker I met, named Robert, told me, "We were told, never call the police. If someone cheats, if someone causes trouble, we handle it ourselves." And everyone knew what handle it meant. A closed room, a few punches, sometimes they never came back. I looked at him and asked, "Did you ever see anyone disappear?" He took a deep breath. More than once. Some shoved into a car trunk. Some showed up to work in the morning, and by night they were gone. But the newspapers never wrote about it. In Vegas, a missing person is just dust blown into the desert. What do you think? A city where people could vanish, and the whole system kept running smoothly, as if nothing had happened. And scarier still, the government knew it all. By 1960, the FBI already had thousands of pages on shadow organizations controlling Las Vegas. But for years, no one was touched. Why? Because the money didn't just go into casinos. It also went to politicians, police, even unions. A bartender once told me, "In Vegas, if you want to live quietly, you learn to bow your head." Everyone knew who was behind it, but who dared to speak? One wrong word, you lose your job. One wrong look, you lose your life. I want you to picture this. In front, the Bellagio, lights flashing, music pounding, champagne flowing. But behind, in a sealed back room, are suitcases stacked high with cash. And those cases don't just hold legal profits. They carry money born of silence, of deals never written down, of names that disappeared without a trace. Locals had a name for the desert around Vegas, the silent graveyard. Out there beneath the sand, there aren't just rocks and dust. There are stories unfinished, whispers and dry bones with no names. But I don't just want to tell you history. I want you to hear from those who lived it. Tony, a former dealer, once told me, one time a customer won big, over 200 grand. But instead of walking away, he was invited to a VIP room. And then he vanished. His family reported him missing. And the police? They didn't move. The whole city stayed silent. I asked Tony, "Why are you still alive to tell me this?" He looked straight into my eyes, because I kept quiet for 20 years. Only now, when most of them are gone, do I dare speak, but never use my real name. You see, even after escaping, the fear lingers. And the question I want to ask you is this: can a city built on fear ever be called paradise? Today, they say the old powers are gone, that casinos are run by giant corporations listed on Wall Street. But don't be too quick to believe it. The only thing that's changed is the mask. No longer street enforcers, but executives in suits. No longer revolvers, but contracts and lawyers. Yet the mission remains the same: drain dreamers of their money, crush employees, and turn the city into a soul-devouring machine. So I ask you, has Las Vegas really been cleaned up? Or has it only changed faces? Comment below. I want to know what you believe. If you think what I've told you so far is cool enough, then you've only seen the first layer of darkness. Because Las Vegas doesn't just shackle its workers in invisible chains. It also turns millions who step into the city into willing prey. Let me tell you about a man named Michael. Michael came from Texas, an ordinary office worker with a dream of striking it rich after one trip to Vegas. He said that the moment he got off the plane, the billboards hit him right in the eyes. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That slogan wasn't just marketing, it was an invitation. A curse. On his first night, Michael won $15,000 at a blackjack table. He called his wife, his voice trembling with excitement. "I'm coming home with a fortune." But just 3 days later, he had lost everything worse. He borrowed another $50,000 from an underground loan shark in the city. When he couldn't pay, he was beaten and threatened with disappearing. His wife had to sell their home to buy his life back. You see, Vegas doesn't just devour the souls of those who work in it. It devours the souls of those who come chasing dreams. And if gambling is the first trap, prostitution is the second. In Nevada, prostitution is legal in some counties. But Las Vegas is the exception. On paper, it's banned. Yet walk off the strip, down the darker streets, or into a bar after midnight, and you'll see the truth. A young woman I'll call Lily because she doesn't want her real name revealed told me, "They drive us in by van." Every night, I had to take 5-6 clients. If I refused, I'd be beaten. Saying prostitution is banned in Vegas is a joke. Everyone knows we exist. The police? They get their envelopes every month. We're just merchandise. I looked at Lily and saw bruises still on her arm. A purple mark trailing down to her wrist. She gave a bitter smile. They call this the City of Lights. But those lights never shine on us. Hearing that, what do you think? And then there are the stories the media never tells. Like the Japanese tourist who vanished in 2014, last seen at a so-called VIP lounge. His friends said he carried only a few $1,000s. Yet in the casino's report, he somehow owed over $120,000, a number that made no sense. His family flew from Tokyo to search, but all they received was a cold statement. No evidence of a crime. No body, no proof, just another person swallowed by the sand. Vegas survives on shadows like these. Its formula is simple. Give you a dream. Make you believe you're winning. Then take it all back, along with your soul. Did you know psychologists have studied the lights and sounds in casinos? No windows, no clocks. Background music designed to keep your heartbeat racing. Flashing lights to blur your sense of time. None of it is accidental. It's science used as a weapon. So I want to ask you, do you think it's fair for a city to use science and psychology to wear down the human brain? To turn people into gamblers, into willing slaves? Comment below. I want to hear your answer. But don't forget, slaves aren't just gamblers. Another witness, Maria, a Mexican immigrant who once worked as a hotel maid, told me, "Tourists can play all night, but we work all day." I cleaned over 20 rooms per shift. One day, I collapsed in the hallway from exhaustion. But the manager just said, "If you can't handle it, go back home." Maria lifted her head, her eyes bloodshot. Vegas doesn't need us to be happy. It only needs us to be silent. So do you still believe Las Vegas is the city of freedom? Or is it nothing more than a gilded prison, its walls not made of concrete, but of neon light? Do you know something? Las Vegas could never have existed without the compromise of power. I once thought, if the mafia controlled the casinos, surely the police and politicians would stand outside, trying to shut them down. But no, the truth was the opposite. They were the ones rolling out the red carpet for the darkness to walk in. A former City Hall employee I met, I'll call him James, recounted. In the 70s, I worked in the mayor's office. Every week, envelopes arrived at my desk. No one called it bribery. They called it operating expenses, anyone who refused. The next week, they were gone. James looked me straight in the eye, his old hands trembling as he lit a cigarette. You know what? In Vegas, every decision, whether it's a hotel permit or opening a nightclub, had to go through the mafia. The police? Just a facade. The politicians? They sat at the same table. Only the people paid the price. Do you remember when I told you about Bugsy Siegel and the Flamingo Hotel earlier? That wasn't just a hotel. It was a blood map for the entire city. After the Flamingo came the Sahara, the Sands, the Tropicana, and every single name was tied to a gang. But here's the real question. Why did the federal government look the other way? The answer is crueler than you think, because Las Vegas became a golden goose for America. Taxes, jobs, tourism revenue. Behind the neon glow, billions flowed back to Washington. Who would dare cut off that lifeline? I recall sitting with another witness, a former Vegas cop who admitted to looking the other way for 20 years. He said, "You know what? Many murders we never investigated. When a gambler died in a hotel, the official report often said suicide. When a prostitute vanished, the file said left the city. The truth? They were erased. But if we opened those files, Vegas would collapse. Who wanted to set off that bomb?" Hearing this, how would you react? Would you accept that justice was buried as long as the neon stayed bright? Or would you rage against the silence of complicity? And don't think this is only the past. Even today, Vegas runs on hidden hands. A dealer I met in 22 told me, every month, VIP groups from Asia and Europe arrive. They don't bring cash, they play with underground credit. And when they lose, the mafia goes back to their home countries to collect. What do you think, knowing that a single hand of cards in Vegas could wipe out an entire family in Hong Kong or Manila? And then there's another story. In 2007, during the global financial crisis, many Vegas casinos stood on the edge of bankruptcy. And yet, strangely, many survived, even expanded. How? A former banker revealed. Dirty money from across the globe, especially drugs, weapons, human trafficking, was funneled into Vegas to be laundered. That's why Vegas never dies. It's like a giant washing machine. You throw in billions of dirty dollars, and it comes out clean, dressed as tourism profits. I pause and ask you, if you're hearing this, doesn't it send a chill down your spine? Because it means every dollar you spend in Vegas, from a cocktail to a show ticket, may carry the blood or tears of someone halfway across the world. And so Las Vegas is not just a prison for workers, not just a trap for dreamers. It is a global transit hub of crime. The question is, do you still dare to call it a city of entertainment? Las Vegas did not just build an economy on chance. It built an underground power structure where the powerless were forced to bow their heads. For decades, most of the heavy labor in this city was carried by immigrants from Mexico and the Philippines. They left their homelands believing this place would give them a chance, but in truth, they only traded one prison for another. A man I met, his name was Raymond, once worked as a waiter in a famous strip hotel. He told me, "We were like shadows, passing thousands of guests every day, but no one ever truly saw us." Do you feel the chill in those words? What pain could be greater than living a life where your existence is never acknowledged? Behind the neon lights, there are always layers of people left in the dark. Hotel corporations pay them wages barely enough to survive, while a single cocktail costs as much as a day's work. But they have no other choice. No money, no papers, no future. They are trapped inside a machine that never stops. Even the women who step into the entertainment world, from dancers and servers to those whose work is rarely spoken of, are caught in the same spiral. Some told me they came to Vegas with simple dreams, just enough money to start a new life. But Vegas never gives without taking. It strips away youth, health, and dignity, and repays with just enough cash to keep them coming back on stage the next night. And the question is, how many ever escape? How many can leave this city without leaving behind a piece of their soul? You see, Las Vegas is not just a city. It is a grinding machine that devours dreams and spits out fragments. And the most terrifying truth is this: we those who come here chasing pleasure are the fuel that keeps the machine alive. If you've ever walked the strip, seen the silent cleaners before dawn, or noticed the weary eyes of a waiter as they hand you a drink, remember that behind that smile may be a life that has never truly smiled. So tell me, what do you think? Are we sometimes so blind that we cannot see the people sacrificing their entire lives just to keep this city shining?